Hey, what's up, guys? This is Cody the Coin Raptor coming at you with another Bitcoin episode. So, in this video, I want to go ahead and talk about my expectations for the Bitcoin price and if this current massive run up we've had over the past week is going to continue. But before we get to that, be sure to subscribe, be sure to hit that like button, and be sure to follow me on X. So, Bitcoin has been up a lot in the last week or so since my last video. And previously, I talked about on the 13th of July if we saw a bottoming of the Bitcoin market. And I do believe that we actually did see that back on the 13th of July. And in that video, in the previous video, I was talking about the opportunity that presents us when Bitcoin slips under this 200-day moving average. And that's normally a good time to buy. And I did buy during that time. And as Bitcoin was below 60K, I made several buys in both actual hard Bitcoin and the IBIT ETF as well. So as if you guys remember, I did post this on X when I did this, but I had multiple IBIT buys here around $32 or so, $32.11. IBIT is now sitting at about $38 or so, so I'm at about a 17-ish% gain on that, and I'm going to hold this for the long term. Basically, that's my goal here for IBIT. And the actual Bitcoin itself, I am definitely going to be holding that as well. And if this changes, I'll definitely be sure to post it on X, and then I'll probably wind up making a video about it. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, make sure that you subscribe and make sure that you follow me on X as well. So this turned out to be a really nice time to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin was crushed by sentiment during the time, almost extreme fear, and the whole problem with Bitcoin going on during this move down from 72K to about 55 was fear over the German government selling off Bitcoin, and they've put out a statement saying that they sold 50,000 Bitcoin or so. So that's partially the reason why we saw Bitcoin sell off so badly, is that the German government was selling. It seems like they're basically done selling Bitcoin. So this is one fear that has been taken off the market, and so this FUD right now should be basically done with, and we shouldn't be hearing anything more about the German government unless they wind up seizing more Bitcoin. The other thing was the Mt. Gox repayments. So I talked about the Mt. Gox repayments, that actually beginning, and CryptoQuant posted this on X, and they said that basically they're at 36% of distribution right now. So they're not quite at half yet, but we expect that this is going to continue to rise basically during the rest of the month and maybe even the next month as well. So just know that that will most likely still weigh on the Bitcoin price for the probably the next couple of months, maybe even for the rest of the year. But that being said, this alone, I think, is not really going to have as huge of an impact on the market as the German government selling, because when people get their Bitcoin back, it's not a guarantee that they're going to sell it right away. They could always custody it and hold it for the long term, and especially a lot of these people who've gotten their money back, they're wind up holding Bitcoin for the long term anyways, and so they're probably they might take a little bit of profits, but I do think that this isn't going to be a huge impact on the market. If we do wind up seeing Bitcoin, the price fail in the future, if it actually moves down, then it might be because of the distributions here, however. So just know that they have 141,000 Bitcoin, and this is the potential for, again, more selling in the future, but I don't think it's going to be as crazy. So when it comes to Bitcoin, we also need to take a look at the spot ETFs as well, because we talked about things like IBIT and also like GBTC. So we saw here almost $400 million worth of inflows for all the funds here, and that's actually pretty amazing. The simple fact is we've seen a large amount of inflows during this time, and Bitcoin has been strong at a time in which the traditional markets have been very, very weak. In fact, what I've seen over the past week is a decoupling from Bitcoin to the NASDAQ 100, which a lot of people like to tie Bitcoin directly to and say this is representative of a speculative technology stock, right? And so it should follow the NASDAQ 100. Well, the NASDAQ 100 is down 4% in the last 5 days. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is up 3% in that same time frame. So again, this kind of gives you the idea, or this hints at the idea, that Bitcoin is a separate entity and trades in accordance with its own rules and its own principles, maybe those more closely aligned with gold rather than actually NASDAQ or some tech stock that that follows the NASDAQ 100. So this is actually pretty important. Consider the fact that the reason why a lot of interest has gone towards these spot ETFs is because they don't move with the market. Instead, you're starting to see people come in and buy them because they're attached to a commodity, aka Bitcoin, and they are not, and they're a good way of diversifying your portfolio. And that's the reason why we've seen a large inflow to the number of Bitcoin spot ETFs. So now back to my original point. Is this going to continue? Well, this is back at at levels that we haven't seen since the midpoint of June. Right now, we have a daily RSI at about 64, almost 70, so it's almost overbought. Now, if it actually reaches that 70 level, this would be the first time that we've seen Bitcoin hit overbought since all the way back in March. So when Bitcoin tends to hit that overbought region, that more tends to show that there's strong momentum in Bitcoin itself, and most likely you're about to see like a short-term top. So if Bitcoin can actually push above that 70 region on the daily, I do believe that this can continue. In fact, I would like to see a little bit more consolidation here above this key resistance point that Bitcoin just crossed here at about 66,000. I need to see some more sideways action, some more consolidation, maybe even in this region right down here from 64 to about 66. But if Bitcoin can consolidate in that region, I think that there's no doubt whatsoever that I can make another run at 72K. I think that's the likely scenario, that Bitcoin is now showing its strength, the momentum is building, and we're going to get a retest of that 72K region, I think probably within a month or so is what I would say. So I do think this can continue, but Bitcoin really needs to show that it can consolidate above these levels, and then from there, it'll push much higher. So that being said, if Bitcoin does wind up getting, if it does go below 63K, or it goes back to the 200-day moving average, which is now at 58, anywhere below 60K is another region which I would target a strong buying opportunity for Bitcoin. Now, it's not only just been me buying Bitcoin, it's also been the whales as well. So our favorite whale, Bitcoin whale wallet number 10, has added another 500 Bitcoin since the last video I did here on the 13th. They've added another 500 Bitcoin, and this whale wallet has been basically unstoppable. They've been adding so much Bitcoin over the past month or so that, I mean, just leave some Bitcoin for the rest of us, right? It's absolutely insane. Just 500 in the span of a week is pretty crazy. But a lot of these whales have been accumulating. It's not just this whale. It's actually, if you go take a look at the Bitcoin balances for whale addresses, you can see that from the 17th of July to the 18th of July, it goes from 644,000 Bitcoin to 749,000 Bitcoin. So in the span of a day, they've added 100,000 Bitcoin. Okay, these whale wallets that have been active within 24 hours have been accumulating, they've been buying, they see this as an opportunity, they look at the charts, everyone can see the same charts, and they're seeing the consolidation and the strong move upwards, and they're saying, I want to be part of that, and they're buying right now. So this is something to keep in mind. What are whales doing? Whales have been bullish, and whales have been loading up any opportunity that they've got. And if you take a look at the Bitcoin Exchange Reserve, you can see the number of Bitcoin on exchanges has been plummeting since the 3rd of July. You can see here that it's just fallen off a cliff. There hasn't been as much Bitcoin available, and so when the whales come in and they buy Bitcoin, they're driving the price up much faster. Okay, so you just look at this, and you back it out, take a look at a year. You can see that over the last year, it has accelerated the decline of Bitcoin available on exchanges. Miners Reserve, however, is still showing that miners continue to sell, and they probably will above 60K. We've seen an acceleration of miners selling as well, and again, it's been going basically right to the whales. The whales have been buying and accumulating, and so as a result, we're starting to see, despite the fact that the miners are selling, the Bitcoin price is still going higher. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is traders, and specifically the options. So Bitcoin options, again, we talked about this in my last video about a week ago, but the max pain price was set for 63K. We've already surpassed that amount, and this is the max pain price for the 26th of July, aka about Friday. Okay, so Friday you have options set to expire about $2.5 billion worth of call options and about $1.5 billion worth of puts, with a max pain price sitting at 63K. And so we understand that with a max pain price, the max pain theory, that the price will be attracted to the 63K region by the end of the week. However, it's not a guarantee. Nothing in life is a guarantee. I do believe that that level, even if we did go to 63K, that's actually right at support, and I think that would be a prime area for consolidation before Bitcoin's next move higher. All right, so that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys have been doing. Have you been buying Bitcoin? Have you been selling Bitcoin? Leave a comment below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.